The champagne flute trembles in my hand as I watch my boyfriend of 3 years feed another woman shrimp scampi at the bar of Le Bernardin. Tonight was supposed to be our anniversary dinner. Instead, I'm sitting alone at a table for two while Marcus treats his ex-girlfriend Sophia to what should have been our celebration. Miss, are you ready to order? The waiter's voice cuts through my shock for the third time. His professional smile can't quite hide his pity. I've been sitting here for 47 minutes watching other couples share intimate conversations over candlelight while my anniversary dinner turns into a public humiliation. My phone buzzes with Marcus's text. Running late, babe. Started without me. Sophia needed to talk about the Johnson account. The Johnson account. Right. That's why she's currently running her fingers through his hair while he whispers something that makes her throw her head back in delighted laughter. I'll have the Dover sole, I tell the waiter, my voice steady despite the earthquake happening in my chest. Just one entree. The waiter glances toward the bar where Marcus and Sophia are now sharing a piece of chocolate cake, the same dessert Marcus claimed to hate when I suggested it for our 6-month anniversary. Will the gentleman be joining you later? No, I say, sliding my credit card across the table. He won't. I eat my expensive fish alone, each bite tasting like ashes and betrayal. Other diners steal glances at me, their whispered conversations creating a symphony of pity. The woman in the corner booth actually has the audacity to take a photo, probably for some social media post about sad single women dining alone on Valentine's Day. But it's not Valentine's Day. It's October 15th, our anniversary. The day Marcus and I first met at that awful corporate mixer where his opening line was, "You look like someone who'd appreciate good wine." 3 years later, I've learned his idea of good wine is whatever his ex-girlfriend orders. As I sign the check, a $300 meal for one, I hear Sophia's voice carry across the restaurant. She's so pathetic, Marcus. How did you stay with her for 3 years? She has zero backbone. Marcus's response is too quiet to hear, but his laughter isn't. That deep, rumbling laugh I used to love now sounds like glass breaking. I stand up, straightening my new dress, the red one I bought specifically for tonight because Marcus once said red looked stunning on me. Apparently, he meant it looked stunning on other women. My hands shake as I gather my purse, and I'm grateful for the low lighting that hides the tears threatening to spill. The maitre d' offers his card as I leave. I hope everything was satisfactory, Miss Chen. Perfect, I lie, because what else do you say when your life implodes over appetizers? Outside, October rain turns the city streets into a watercolor painting. I pull out my phone to call an Uber, but my fingers hover over Marcus's contact instead. Part of me wants to call him, to demand an explanation, to fight for what we had. But what we had was clearly nothing. Instead, I start typing a text. It's over, Marcus. I hope she was worth it. My finger hovers over send as I step off the curb, my vision blurred by tears and rain. The message feels too simple for 3 years of my life, too clean for this kind of betrayal. I need something more, something that captures the magnitude of... The headlights come out of nowhere. Time slows as the taxi barrels toward me, the driver's face contorted in horror behind the windshield. My phone flies from my hand, and I hear the distant sound of shattering glass. Both my phone and something inside my chest. As I hit the pavement, my vision darkening around the edges, my phone buzzes one last time with Marcus's reply. We need to talk. Sophia and I are getting engaged. The irony almost makes me laugh. Almost. But as consciousness fades, something else happens. Memories flood my mind like a dam bursting. Not just tonight's betrayal, but months of lies I was too blind to see. The business dinners that ran until midnight. The way Marcus always defended Sophia when I questioned their friendship. The hushed phone calls he claimed were work emergencies. And then, with devastating clarity, I understand. This wasn't a spontaneous reunion with his ex. This was planned, calculated. They needed me gone, but they also needed my money, my trust fund, my family connections. The anniversary dinner wasn't carelessness. It was deliberate cruelty designed to make me break up with Marcus so he could play the victim to our mutual friends. In my final moments, I see the business proposal on Marcus's laptop, the one he's been working on for months. The same proposal I helped him research because I thought I was supporting my boyfriend's dreams. But the handwriting in the margins isn't his, it's Sophia's. They've been planning their future together while using my resources to fund it. My last thought before the darkness claims me is crystal clear. I won't let them win. Then my eyes snap open. I'm in my apartment, sunlight streaming through the windows. My phone is buzzing on the nightstand, and when I grab it, the screen shows a text from Marcus. Sophia's back in town, having drinks to catch up. Don't wait up. The timestamp reads April 15th, 6 months before the anniversary disaster. 6 months before I died. I stare at the date on my phone until my eyes water. April 15th, the day Sophia returned from her supposed consulting job in Los Angeles. The day everything started falling apart, though I was too naive to realize it then. My heart pounds against my ribs as I sit up in bed, my mind reeling. The anniversary dinner, the accident, Marcus's final text about their engagement. It all happened. I remember every excruciating detail, from the taste of the Dover sole to the sound of my phone shattering on wet asphalt. But now I'm here in my bedroom wearing the same pajamas I wore 6 months ago. The same coffee mug sits on my nightstand, the one Marcus bought me from that little cafe in Soho. In my previous life, I treasured that mug. Now it makes me nauseous. I force myself to think logically. Either I'm having the most vivid dream of my life, or something impossible has happened. Given that I can smell the jasmine candle I lit last night and feel the Egyptian cotton sheets Marcus insisted we buy, I'm leaning toward impossible. Somehow, some way, I've been given a second chance. And this time, I'm not going to waste it on tears and self-pity. I screenshot Marcus's text and save it to a new folder labeled Evidence. Then, I methodically review everything I now know. Marcus and Sophia never broke up. Their relationship has been ongoing for at least a year, possibly longer. Sophia's job in Los Angeles was fake, a cover story to explain her absence, while Marcus established himself with me and my family's connections. The business proposal Marcus has been developing is stolen intellectual property from a startup called Innovate Tech that folded 2 years ago. The founder, Dr. Sarah Chen, no relation despite the shared surname, lost everything when her investors pulled out. Marcus and Sophia plan to rebrand her work and use my trust fund as startup capital. Their timeline is precise: 6 months to establish their business foundation using my resources. 3 months to secure additional investors using my family name. Then the anniversary dinner humiliation to force me to break up with Marcus, allowing him to claim victim status while moving forward with Sophia. What they don't know is that I have 6 months to destroy them first. My phone buzzes with another text from Marcus. Love you, babe. Don't know how late I'll be. In my previous life, I responded with a heart emoji and spent the evening cooking his favorite lasagna. I waited up until 2 a.m. for him to come home reeking of Sophia's perfume, then listened to him lie about helping her move boxes. This time, I text back. Perfect. I'm having dinner with my lawyer to discuss some investments. See you tomorrow. I don't clarify what kind of lawyer. The response comes immediately. Lawyer? Everything okay? Just exploring some opportunities. You focus on catching up with Sophia. I can practically feel his confusion through the phone. Good. Let him wonder. The next week passes in a blur of careful planning and strategic deception. I hire Rebecca Torres, the most ruthless PR executive in the city, under the guise of developing my personal brand for future business ventures. I also retain David Kellerman, a corporate lawyer who specializes in intellectual property theft and investment fraud. Most importantly, I hire a private investigator named Janet Mills to document Marcus and Sophia's activities. Janet is a former FBI agent with a specialty in white-collar crime and zero tolerance for lying cheaters. When I explain the situation, leaving out the supernatural rebirth element, she takes the case with predatory enthusiasm. Honey, she says, her gravelly voice carrying decades of cigarettes and disappointment. I've seen this exact scam a dozen times. Rich girl falls for charming con man has an accomplice, they drain her accounts and disappear. The only difference is timing. What do you mean? Usually they wait until after marriage to make their move. These two are either inexperienced or desperate. Janet's smile is sharp enough to cut glass. Either way, we'll bury them. While Janet works on gathering evidence, I focus on the business side. I research Dr. Sarah Chen and discover she's currently working as a freelance consultant, barely making ends meet after her startup's failure. Her LinkedIn profile shows brilliant innovations in sustainable technology, exactly the kind of work that could revolutionize the industry. I reach out to her under the pretense of exploring investment opportunities. We meet at a small cafe in Brooklyn, and I'm struck by how young she looks. Probably early 30s with tired eyes that speak of dreams deferred. I followed your work since MIT, I tell her, which is true as of last week. What happened with Innovate Tech was criminal. Her laugh is bitter. Tell me about it. 2 years of my life and everything I owned, gone because some venture capitalist decided renewable energy wasn't sexy enough for his portfolio. What if I told you someone was planning to steal your work and profit from it? Dr. Chen's coffee cup freezes halfway to her lips. Excuse me? I slide a folder across the table containing copies of Marcus's business proposal, the same one he's been developing on the laptop I bought him for Christmas. This look familiar? Her face goes pale as she flips through the pages. This is my work. Every algorithm, every process flow, even the fucking methodology footnotes. How did you... My boyfriend is planning to pitch this to investors using my family's connections. He has no idea I know what it really is. And you're telling me because I want to hire you to help me destroy him. Dr. Chen closes the folder slowly, her hands perfectly steady. I'm listening. The next piece of my plan involves James Morrison, a venture capitalist who rejected Marcus's pitch in my previous timeline. In that conversation, Morrison tore apart the proposal's financial projections and called Marcus's business model fundamentally flawed. Marcus spent weeks ranting about Morrison's inability to recognize innovation. What Marcus didn't know was that Morrison rejected the pitch because he recognized the stolen elements. Morrison had been one of Dr. Chen's original investors before the venture capital firm pressured him to withdraw support. I arrange a meeting with Morrison through my father's connections, presenting myself as an emerging entrepreneur seeking guidance. Morrison's office overlooks Central Park, all glass and steel and intimidating success. Miss Chen, he says, settling behind his massive desk, your father mentioned you're interested in sustainable technology ventures? I am. But first, I want to show you something. I hand him the same folder I showed Dr. Chen. Someone's planning to pitch this to investors in the next few months. Morrison's expression darkens as he reviews the documents. Where did you get this? From someone who stole it from Dr. Sarah Chen, someone who plans to use my family name and my trust fund to legitimize the theft. And you want me to invest in the real version? I want you to help me build an empire while destroying theirs. Morrison leans back in his chair, studying me with new interest. That's a dangerous game, Miss Chen. They made it dangerous when they decided to steal from brilliant women and use me as collateral damage. Fair enough. Morrison's smile is sharp and calculating. Let's talk numbers. By the end of our meeting, I've secured preliminary funding for Chen Technologies, Dr. Sarah Chen's new company, with me as primary investor and Morrison as strategic partner. We'll be developing the same innovations Marcus plans to steal, but with actual expertise and legal ownership. When I return home that evening, Marcus is waiting with takeout from my favorite Thai restaurant and an enormous bouquet of roses. What's the occasion? I ask, accepting his kiss while mentally cataloging the guilt in his expression. Do I need an occasion to spoil my beautiful girlfriend? He pulls out my chair with exaggerated chivalry. I missed you this week. Feels like we've barely talked. In my previous life, I melted at this gesture. Now I recognize it for what it is. Manipulation designed to keep me compliant while he builds his exit strategy. You've been busy with work, I say, settling into my chair. How's Sophia settling back into the city? Marcus's fork pauses halfway to his mouth. Fine, I think. Why? Just curious. It must be difficult transitioning back after so much time away. Yeah, she's struggling with the adjustment. He's lying smoothly, just like before. But you know Sophia, she's resilient. I do know Sophia. I know she never left the city. I know her consulting job in Los Angeles was pure fiction. And I know that while Marcus sits here feeding me pad thai and lies, Sophia is probably in the apartment they've been sharing on the Upper East Side, the one Marcus claims belongs to his cousin. We should have her over for dinner soon, I suggest, watching Marcus's face carefully. I'd love to catch up. The panic that flickers across his features is so brief I would have missed it before. But this Elena notices everything. I don't think that's a good idea, he says quickly. She's in a weird headspace right now. Breakups, you know? Of course, poor thing. I reach across the table to squeeze his hand. You're such a good friend for supporting her through this difficult time. Marcus relaxes, believing he's successfully navigated the conversation. He has no idea he's just confirmed everything I needed to know. As we finish dinner, he talks about his day, his upcoming projects, his hopes for the future. Everything he says is either a half-truth or complete fabrication, but I nod and smile and play the supportive girlfriend, because Marcus taught me something valuable in my previous life. The best revenge is served by someone your enemies never see coming. And they definitely don't see me coming. 3 weeks into my second chance, Janet delivers her first report. The photographs are damning. Marcus and Sophia having romantic dinners, shopping for home decor together, entering and leaving the same apartment building. But it's the financial records that truly tell the story. Your boyfriend has been busy, Janet says, spreading documents across my kitchen table. Joint bank account opened 2 months ago. Lease application for a corporate office space using your family business as a reference. And here's the interesting part, 3 separate meetings with intellectual property lawyers about trademark applications. I study the trademark applications. They're filing for patents on Dr. Chen's stolen work under the company name Phoenix Dynamics. The symbolism isn't lost on me. They see themselves rising from the ashes of other people's dreams. So there's more. Janet slides another folder toward me. Phone records. Your boy's been in contact with at least 6 different venture capital firms. Preliminary meetings scheduled over the next month. Which firms? Morrison Capital is on the list. Perfect. My plan is already in motion. The next phase requires delicate timing. I begin dropping carefully placed hints to Marcus about business opportunities within my father's investment network. I mention specific names, strategic connections, market insights, all information that will accelerate his timeline and make him sloppy. You know, I say over breakfast, Daddy mentioned that Morrison Capital is actively seeking sustainable technology investments. Maybe you should reach out to James Morrison about your project. Marcus nearly chokes on his coffee. You think I'm ready for that level of investor? Baby, your work is brilliant. Any investor would be lucky to have you. The lies taste like poison, but I deliver them with perfect sincerity. That evening, I listen to Marcus make a phone call from our bedroom, thinking I can't hear from the kitchen. He's talking to Sophia, his voice excited and urgent. Elena just handed us James Morrison on a silver platter. We need to move up our timeline. While Marcus and Sophia accelerate their plans, I'm building my own empire. Chen Technologies officially launches with Dr. Sarah Chen as Chief Technology Officer and me as CEO. Morrison Capital provides initial funding, and I use my family connections to secure additional investors who believe in the real innovation, not the stolen version. Dr. Chen is a revelation to work with. Her mind operates on a level that makes Marcus's stolen presentation look like a middle school science project. Within 2 weeks, she's refined her original concepts and developed 3 new applications that will revolutionize renewable energy storage. You know, she says during one of our strategy meetings, I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. This is too good to be true. What do you mean? Successful young entrepreneur sweeps in to rescue failed scientist? Offers unlimited funding and complete creative control? In my experience, there's always a catch. I lean back in my chair, considering how much to reveal. The catch is that I want to destroy the people who stole from you. If that bothers you, we should discuss it now. Dr. Chen's smile is sharp and predatory. Honey, I've been dreaming of revenge for 2 years. The only thing that bothers me is that we didn't start sooner. My kind of woman. Meanwhile, Rebecca Torres has been quietly building my public profile. Strategic mentions in business magazines, carefully placed interviews about emerging female entrepreneurs, a feature in Forbes about young women disrupting traditional industries. By the time Marcus and Sophia make their move, I'll be positioned as the face of innovative business practices. Image is everything in corporate warfare, Rebecca explains during one of our weekly meetings. When this goes public, and it will go public, you need to be the sympathetic figure. Smart, successful, betrayed by people she trusted. The media will eat it up. And Marcus? Marcus will be the opportunistic boyfriend who exploited a successful woman's trust for personal gain. Sophia will be the scheming other woman who helped him do it. Classic villain archetypes that practically write themselves. The first major test comes when Marcus announces he's ready to start pitching investors. He's chosen Morrison Capital as his first meeting, believing my family connection will guarantee success. I want you there, he tells me over dinner at our usual spot, a small Italian restaurant where we had our first official date. Your support means everything to me, Elena. In my previous life, I attended that pitch meeting as the devoted girlfriend, smiling proudly while Marcus stumbled through his stolen presentation. Morrison rejected the proposal in 15 brutal minutes, but I consoled Marcus afterward and encouraged him to keep trying. This time will be different. Of course I'll be there, I tell him, squeezing his hand across the table. I wouldn't miss your big moment. Marcus beams at me, probably mentally calculating how my presence will influence Morrison's decision. He has no idea that Morrison and I have been planning this meeting for weeks. The Morrison Capital offices on the 30th floor of the Chrysler Building represent everything Marcus wants but will never have. As we ride the elevator up, I watch him fidget with his tie and practice his opening lines under his breath. You'll be brilliant, I assure him, and I mean it. He'll be brilliantly awful. Morrison's conference room is all glass and intimidation, with a view of Manhattan that makes you feel both powerful and insignificant. Marcus sets up his laptop while I take a seat beside him, playing the supportive partner to perfection. But when Morrison enters the room, he's not alone. Dr. Sarah Chen walks in behind him, followed by David Kellerman, my lawyer. Marcus's face goes white. I'm sorry, I thought this was a private meeting. It is, Morrison says, settling into his chair with predatory calm. Private between the people who actually own the intellectual property you're about to present. I don't understand. I stand up slowly, enjoying the moment. You don't understand a lot of things, Marcus. Like how I've known about you and Sophia for weeks. How I know about your joint bank account, your shared apartment, your plan to use my trust fund to launch a business based on stolen technology. Marcus turns to me, his face a mixture of panic and confusion. Elena, what are you talking about? I'm talking about Phoenix Dynamics. I'm talking about Dr. Chen's stolen work. I'm talking about the fact that while you've been playing loving boyfriend, you've been planning to humiliate me at our anniversary dinner so you could run off with your accomplice. Our anniversary dinner? Elena, that's months away. You're not making sense. I pull out my phone and play one of Janet's recordings. Marcus and Sophia discussing their timeline for my destruction, captured just 3 days ago. Marcus's voice fills the conference room. Elena's so fucking naive. She actually thinks I love her. 6 more months and we'll have everything we need. The color drains completely from Marcus's face. How did I get recordings of you planning to destroy my life? How did I know you'd stolen Dr. Chen's work? How did I know you'd approach Morrison Capital first? I lean forward, my voice deadly quiet. I know because I'm not the same naive woman you thought you could manipulate. Dr. Chen opens her laptop and displays the original Innovate Tech presentation side by side with Marcus's stolen version. These documents are copyrighted intellectual property. Every algorithm, every process, every innovation you're planning to present belongs to me. David Kellerman slides a legal document across the table. This is a cease and desist order preventing you from using any of Dr. Chen's work. It's also noticed that you're being sued for intellectual property theft, fraud, and breach of fiduciary duty regarding joint financial accounts with Miss Chen. Marcus stares at the documents, his mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. This is insane. Elena, you're my girlfriend. We're supposed to be on the same team. We were on the same team, I say, my voice cold and steady. Right up until you decided to make me your mark instead of your partner. Morrison leans back in his chair, clearly enjoying the show. Mr. Williams, did you really think you could pitch stolen technology to the same investor who originally funded the real version? I didn't steal anything. This work is mine. Dr. Chen laughs, sharp and bitter. Really? Then explain the methodology footnotes that reference my MIT dissertation. Explain the cost projections based on equipment specifications from my original lab. Explain how you developed innovations that took me 4 years to create in the 6 months since you started dating Elena. Marcus looks desperately between all of us, finally understanding that he's walked into a trap. Elena, please, you don't understand what you're doing. Sophia and it's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. I stand up and gather my purse. Sophia can have you, Marcus. What she can't have is my money, my family's reputation, or Dr. Chen's life's work. As I walk toward the door, Marcus grabs my arm. You can't do this to me. I love you. I turn back to face him, and for a moment, I see the man I thought I loved for 3 years. Handsome, charming, desperate. In my previous life, this moment would have broken my heart. No, I say quietly. You love what I could give you. There's a difference. I walk out of Morrison Capital with my head high, leaving Marcus to face the legal consequences of his choices. But this is only the beginning. Marcus and Sophia planned 6 months of systematic deception to destroy me. I'm planning to destroy them in 6 days. The next phase of my revenge requires precision timing and a complete understanding of Marcus and Sophia's psychology. They're cornered now, which makes them dangerous but also predictable. People like them always double down when they're caught. Janet's surveillance confirms my expectations. Instead of cutting their losses and disappearing, Marcus and Sophia are plotting their counterattack. Phone records show desperate calls to potential investors trying to position me as an unstable ex-girlfriend interfering with legitimate business ventures. They're spinning a story about a jealous woman using family connections to sabotage her ex-boyfriend's career, Janet reports. Classic victim reversal. Perfect. That plays right into our next move. Rebecca Torres has been preparing for exactly this scenario. Within hours of the Morrison Capital meeting, carefully placed media sources begin reporting on Chen Technologies' revolutionary breakthrough in renewable energy storage. The stories focus on Dr. Chen's brilliance and my commitment to supporting innovative women in STEM fields. The contrast writes itself. Elena Chen, young philanthropist supporting genuine innovation, versus Marcus Williams, opportunistic con man stealing from female entrepreneurs. But Marcus and Sophia aren't finished. 2 days after the Morrison meeting, Sophia shows up at my apartment building, tears streaming down her perfectly made-up face. Elena, please, she sobs into the intercom. I need to talk to you. Marcus has been lying to both of us. In my previous life, this performance would have worked. I would have let her up, listened to her sob story, maybe even felt sorry for her. But this Elena knows exactly what Sophia is doing. I buzz her up anyway. Sophia arrives at my door looking devastated and vulnerable. Designer jeans, artfully distressed, hair perfectly tousled, makeup that makes her tears look tragic instead of ugly. She's clearly been practicing this performance. Elena, thank God you'll see me. She pushes past me into the apartment, wrapping her arms around herself like she's freezing. I had to warn you about Marcus. Warn me about what? He's been using both of us. Everything he told me about your relationship was a lie. Sophia's voice breaks on cue. He said you two were practically over, that you were just convenient for your family connections. He made me believe I was helping him escape an unhappy situation. I pour myself a glass of wine and don't offer her one. Go on. The business proposal, the plans we made, I thought I was helping him build something legitimate. I had no idea he was stealing from that Dr. Chen woman. Sophia's tears intensify. Elena, I'm so sorry. Marcus manipulated me just like he manipulated you. The performance is flawless. If I hadn't lived through Marcus and Sophia's true timeline, I might actually believe her. But I know Sophia orchestrated half of their plan. The apartment lease is in her name. The stolen intellectual property research was conducted on her laptop. The investor contact list was developed through her network. So what do you want from me, I ask. I want to help you destroy him. Sophia meets my eyes with perfect sincerity. I have evidence of everything. Financial records, recordings of him admitting the theft, proof that he's been lying to both of us. We can take him down together. And there it is. Sophia's real plan. She wants to position herself as my ally while eliminating Marcus as a liability. Then she'll find a way to salvage their stolen business model while painting herself as another victim. That's very generous of you, I say slowly. But I'm curious about something. What? If Marcus has been lying to you about our relationship, how did you know about the Chen Technologies meeting at Morrison Capital? That happened 2 days ago, and it wasn't public information? Sophia's mask slips for just a fraction of a second. Marcus told me. He was devastated that you'd ambushed him. Interesting, because Morrison Capital requires all attendees to sign confidentiality agreements. If Marcus discussed the meeting details with you, he violated a legally binding contract. I pull out my phone and dial David Kellerman's number on speaker. David, it's Elena. I have someone here who just admitted that Marcus Williams shared confidential information from a Morrison Capital meeting. Can you add that to our lawsuit? Sophia's face goes pale as David's voice fills the room. Absolutely. That's a clear breach of contract and further evidence of conspiracy. Is the person willing to provide a statement? I think she'd be happy to. I smile at Sophia. Wouldn't you? Sophia realizes she's been trapped, but she's committed to the performance now. Of course, I want Marcus to face consequences for what he's done. Excellent, David. Can you send someone over to take her statement? And please bring the documents about Phoenix Dynamics that we discussed. When David arrives an hour later with a paralegal and a thick folder of legal documents, Sophia is visibly nervous. She maintains her victimized ex-girlfriend act, but her answers become increasingly contradictory as David's questions grow more specific. Miss Rodriguez, you mentioned that Mr. Williams manipulated you into helping with his business plan. Can you walk us through your specific contributions to the Phoenix Dynamics proposal? I just provided moral support, maybe helped with some research. David opens the folder and slides documents across my coffee table. These are financial records for Phoenix Dynamics LLC, filed with the state of New York 6 weeks ago. You're listed as Chief Operating Officer. Can you explain that discrepancy? Sophia stares at the documents, her composed facade cracking. Marcus said that was just for paperwork purposes. And this lease agreement for office space in Midtown, signed 3 weeks ago? You're listed as the primary contact and financial guarantor. Marcus needed someone with good credit. Miss Rodriguez, these intellectual property research files were accessed from an IP address registered to your personal laptop. The timestamps show dozens of sessions over the past 2 months, often late at night when Mr. Williams was supposedly at home with Miss Chen. The silence stretches for 30 seconds. Sophia looks between me and David, finally understanding that her performance has failed. This is a setup, she says, her victimized persona evaporating. You can't prove I knew the work was stolen. I pull out my phone and play another of Janet's recordings, this one featuring Sophia's voice. Sarah Chen was an idiot to let her investors walk away. Her work is brilliant, but she had zero business sense. Marcus and I will make millions from her stupidity. Sophia's face hardens into something ugly and desperate. You recorded me illegally. Actually, New York is a one-party consent state, David says cheerfully. Miss Chen was well within her rights to record conversations she participated in. And since you just confessed to knowingly stealing Dr. Chen's work, we have everything we need. Sophia stands up abruptly, her mask completely gone now. You think you're so smart, Elena, but you have no idea what you're dealing with. Marcus and I have been planning this for over a year. We have contingencies you haven't even considered. Such as, your precious trust fund isn't as secure as you think. Marcus has been documenting your spending patterns, your decision-making processes, your emotional instability. One call to your father's board of directors about your recent erratic behavior and they'll freeze your assets pending a psychological evaluation. I lean back in my chair, genuinely impressed. That's actually diabolical. Using my family's protective instincts against me. Marcus recorded every conversation where you seemed unbalanced or made impulsive financial decisions. Your sudden obsession with Chen Technologies, your irrational vendetta against legitimate business partners, your paranoid delusions about being betrayed. It all paints a picture of someone who shouldn't be managing a multi-million-dollar inheritance. David looks intrigued rather than concerned. And you think this strategy will work? I know it will work. Elena's father loves her, but he loves the family money more. One suggestion that his daughter is having a breakdown and he'll take control of her finances to protect her from herself. I pull out another phone, not my personal device, but a burner phone Janet gave me, and dial my father's number on speaker. Elena. Dad's voice fills the room. Is everything all right? It's rather late. Hi, Daddy. I'm here with some business associates, and we wanted to clear up a potential issue. Are you aware that Marcus Williams has been attempting to use our family name to legitimize a fraudulent business venture? I beg your pardon? Marcus and his partner, Sophia Rodriguez, have been planning to steal intellectual property and use my trust fund as startup capital. They've also been preparing to claim I'm mentally unstable if I discovered their scheme. David leans toward the phone. Mr. Chen, this is David Kellerman from Kellerman and Associates. We're representing your daughter in a complex fraud case. The defendants have threatened to make false claims about Miss Chen's mental health to manipulate your family's financial decisions. My father's voice goes cold. I see. And what evidence do you have of these threats? I gesture to Sophia, who's standing frozen in my living room. The defendants are actually here now. Miss Rodriguez just explained their entire strategy. Miss Rodriguez, my father says, his tone carrying decades of corporate authority. I'm Robert Chen, chairman of Chen Holdings. Are you aware that threatening my daughter constitutes both extortion and criminal conspiracy? Sophia's mouth opens and closes silently. Furthermore, Dad continues, any attempt to interfere with my daughter's financial independence will result in a lawsuit that will destroy not only you and Mr. Williams, but every investor, lawyer, and business associate who assists you. The Chen family protects its own, Miss Rodriguez. I suggest you remember that. The call ends, leaving Sophia standing in my living room like a deflated balloon. Her last gambit has not only failed, it's triggered the full protective power of my family's legal and financial resources. You've destroyed everything, she whispers, her voice broken. Everything we worked for. No, I correct her. I prevented you from destroying everything I worked for. There's a difference. David hands Sophia a business card. Miss Rodriguez, I strongly recommend you retain legal counsel. You're facing multiple felony charges, and cooperation with our investigation might be your only chance at avoiding significant prison time. After Sophia leaves, escorted out by building security at my request, David and I review the complete evidence package. Marcus and Sophia's conspiracy is thoroughly documented, from the stolen intellectual property to the financial fraud to the attempted extortion. This is actually impressive, David admits. Most white-collar criminals get caught because they're sloppy or greedy. These two planned for almost every contingency. Almost every contingency? They planned for you to be the naive victim they could manipulate indefinitely. They never planned for you to be 3 steps ahead of them. That night, I pour myself a glass of the expensive champagne Marcus and I were saving for our anniversary and toast to my empty apartment. Tomorrow, the final phase of my revenge begins. But tonight, I just want to appreciate how it feels to win. The news breaks at exactly 6 a.m. on a Tuesday, timed perfectly for maximum media exposure. Rebecca Torres has orchestrated the story's release across multiple platforms simultaneously. The Wall Street Journal leads with Trust Fund Heiress exposes boyfriend's corporate conspiracy, while tech blogs focus on stolen innovation, how Chen Technologies saved Dr. Sarah Chen's life's work. I'm sipping coffee in my office at Chen Technologies when the first calls start coming in. Interview requests, partnership proposals, investment offers, the response is overwhelming and entirely positive. Rebecca's media strategy has worked flawlessly. You're trending on 3 social media platforms, my assistant reports. The hashtag #TrustYourGut is being used by women sharing stories about discovering their partner's betrayals. I've become an accidental symbol of female empowerment, which wasn't part of my original revenge plan, but feels like poetic justice. Marcus and Sophia, meanwhile, are discovering that public opinion can be more devastating than legal consequences. Their names are associated with fraud and betrayal across every major news platform. The story has everything journalists love: wealth, deception, stolen innovation, and a satisfying comeuppance. Janet provides hourly updates on their attempts to control the narrative. Marcus tried to give an interview to TechCrunch claiming he was the real victim of your vindictive manipulation. The interview lasted 12 minutes before they asked him to explain the recordings. And Sophia? Hiding in her apartment. But here's the interesting part. She's been contacted by 3 different documentary filmmakers about selling her story. I'm not entirely surprised. Sophia always was opportunistic. The legal proceedings move faster than expected. David's evidence package is so comprehensive that Marcus and Sophia's lawyers recommend immediate plea negotiations rather than going to trial. The intellectual property theft charges alone carry potential prison sentences, and the fraud charges add additional years. They want to settle, David reports during our weekly meeting. Marcus is offering to sign over any claim to Chen Technologies, formally apologize for the theft, and accept 5 years probation plus community service. And Sophia? She's claiming diminished capacity due to emotional manipulation by Marcus. Her lawyer is positioning her as another victim. Counterproposal, I tell David. Marcus pays full restitution to Dr. Chen for 2 years of lost income and damaged reputation. Sophia does the same. They both perform 1,000 hours of community service, specifically with organizations that support women in STEM fields. They're banned from any business venture involving intellectual property for 5 years, and they provide written confessions detailing their entire conspiracy. That's harsh. They plan to destroy my life and steal Dr. Chen's work. This is proportional. The negotiations take 2 weeks, but eventually Marcus and Sophia accept the terms. They have no choice. The alternative is potential prison time and complete financial ruin from civil lawsuits. I'm reviewing the final settlement documents when my assistant announces an unexpected visitor, James Morrison, looking uncharacteristically nervous. Elena, do you have a few minutes? Of course, what's on your mind? James settles into the chair across from my desk, his usual corporate confidence replaced by something more vulnerable. I wanted to apologize. For what? For underestimating you. When you first came to my office with that revenge plan, I thought I was helping a naive young woman get back at her cheating boyfriend. I had no idea I was partnering with someone who could orchestrate something this sophisticated. I study his face, looking for signs of manipulation or hidden agenda, but James seems genuinely contrite. What changed your mind? Watching you work. The way you turned Marcus and Sophia's own tactics against them. The way you protected Dr. Chen while building a legitimate business empire. The way you handled Sophia's attempt to manipulate you. James shakes his head. I've been in venture capital for 15 years, and I've never seen anyone execute a strategy that complex with that level of precision. And now you're wondering if you want to be in business with someone capable of that level of calculated revenge? Actually, I'm wondering if you'd consider having dinner with me. Not as business partners, as something else. The invitation catches me completely off guard. In my previous life, I might have been flattered but cautious. This Elena evaluates the proposal strategically. James Morrison is intelligent, successful, and genuinely seems to respect my capabilities, rather than being intimidated by them. He's been nothing but honest in our business dealings, and his support during the Marcus situation was invaluable. Most importantly, he's asking directly rather than manipulating or deceiving me. I'd like that, I tell him, but I have one condition. Name it. No games, no hidden agendas, no strategic manipulation disguised as romance. I've had enough of men who see relationships as business opportunities. James's smile is genuine and warm. Elena, after watching you destroy 2 people who tried to manipulate you, I wouldn't dare. Our first date is dinner at a small French restaurant in Brooklyn. Nothing flashy or designed to impress. Just good food and honest conversation. James tells me about his background, his family, his failures, as well as his successes. I find myself relaxing in a way I haven't since my rebirth. Can I ask you something? James says over dessert. How did you know? About Marcus and Sophia, I mean. The level of detail in your revenge plan suggests you knew things that should have been impossible to discover. I've been dreading this question, but I've prepared an answer that's technically true. I hired an excellent private investigator and paid attention to details I'd been ignoring. Amazing what you can learn when you stop making excuses for someone's behavior. James nods thoughtfully. My ex-wife taught me a similar lesson. Sometimes the signs are obvious, but we choose not to see them because seeing means dealing with consequences. What happened with your marriage? She was having an affair with my business partner. I suspected for months, but kept telling myself I was being paranoid. James's laugh is rueful. Eventually, denial becomes more exhausting than facing the truth. I reach across the table and squeeze his hand. I'm sorry. Don't be. Best thing that ever happened to me. Losing everything I thought I wanted taught me what I actually needed, which is someone who challenges me, someone who's building their own empire instead of trying to inherit mine, someone smart enough to outmaneuver corporate conspiracies and honest enough to warn me she's capable of it. 3 months later, Chen Technologies announces a breakthrough in sustainable energy storage that will revolutionize renewable power systems. Dr. Chen's innovations, properly funded and developed, exceed even my future knowledge of their potential. We're not just building a company, Dr. Chen tells me during our celebratory dinner. We're changing how the world thinks about energy independence and making a fortune doing it. That too. She raises her champagne glass. To revenge that turns into revolution. I raise my own glass, thinking about how far I've come from that broken woman eating dinner alone at Le Bernardin, to second chances and new beginnings. The anniversary of my death, or rather, the anniversary of my rebirth, arrives on a crisp October evening. I'm working late at the office when my assistant reminds me about the reservation. Miss Chen, your table at Le Bernardin is confirmed for 8 o'clock. I'd forgotten I'd made the reservation. Some part of me needed to close the circle, to return to the place where everything ended and began. This time, I'm not dining alone. James meets me at the restaurant, and we're seated at the same table where I sat 6 months ago, watching my life implode. The irony isn't lost on me. You're unusually quiet tonight, James observes over appetizers. Everything all right? Just thinking about how much can change in 6 months. Regrets? I consider the question seriously. Marcus and Sophia are both working at nonprofits now, their dreams of corporate empire permanently destroyed. Their relationship didn't survive the legal proceedings. Apparently, conspiracy and mutual betrayal aren't strong foundations for romance. Dr. Chen is thriving, her innovations finally receiving the recognition they deserve. Chen Technologies is valued at 10 times what Phoenix Dynamics would have been worth, and we're expanding internationally. Most importantly, I've learned to trust my instincts and recognize my own worth. I'm no longer the naive woman who made excuses for other people's bad behavior. No regrets, I tell James. Just gratitude. As we're finishing dinner, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. I know this is probably the last thing you want to hear from me, but congratulations on your success. You deserved better than what I gave you. And I show the message to James, who reads it with interest. Are you going to respond? I delete the message without replying. Some conversations don't need to be finished. James nods approvingly. One of the things I admire about you is how completely you move forward. No looking back, no what-ifs, no second-guessing. If only he knew, but as we leave Le Bernardin together, walking hand in hand down the same street where I died 6 months ago, I realize he's right. I'm not the same person who was betrayed and broken in this place. That woman died here, and someone stronger was reborn from her ashes. The woman I am now doesn't need revenge because she's built something better than what was stolen from her. She doesn't need to look back because her future is brighter than any past she's left behind. And she definitely doesn't need to order for one because she's learned the difference between being alone and being independent. I'm standing in the penthouse suite of the Mandarin Oriental, looking out over Central Park as the sun sets over Manhattan. Tonight, Chen Technologies is hosting our IPO celebration, the culmination of a year that transformed my company from startup to industry leader. The party below is in full swing. Dr. Chen is holding court with environmental scientists, explaining how our innovations will impact climate change. Rebecca Torres is networking with media executives, already planning our next phase of growth. David Kellerman is telling war stories about our legal victory to an audience of fascinated entrepreneurs. James appears beside me with 2 glasses of champagne. Hiding from your own party? Just taking a moment to appreciate how far we've come. From revenge plot to IPO in 12 months. That might be a record. I accept the champagne and lean against the window, watching the city lights begin to twinkle in the darkness. You know what's funny? I started this whole thing wanting to destroy Marcus and Sophia, but the real victory was building something they could never have imagined. Think they know about tonight? I pull out my phone and show James a news alert. Former business partners charged with investment fraud in federal investigation. The article details how Marcus and Sophia, desperate after their fall from grace, attempted to run a Ponzi scheme targeting elderly investors. They were arrested this morning. Apparently, they never learned their lesson about honest work. James reads the article, shaking his head. Some people are incapable of change. I delete the article without finishing it. A year ago, news of their continued downfall would have satisfied me. Now it feels irrelevant. I'm too busy building my empire to worry about people who chose destruction. Elena! James turns to face me, his expression serious. There's something I want to ask you. He reaches into his jacket pocket and pulls out a small velvet box. My heart stops for a moment. Not from surprise, but from the realization that this time, the proposal is real. Before you say anything, James continues, I want you to know this isn't about business partnerships or financial advantages or any of the bullshit reasons people in our world usually get married. This is about wanting to spend my life with someone who challenges me to be better. He opens the box to reveal a stunning diamond ring, not the biggest stone money can buy, but elegant and perfectly suited to my taste. Elena Chen, will you marry me? I look at the ring, then at James, then out at the city where I died and was reborn. In my previous life, I waited 3 years for Marcus to propose, making excuses for his delays and accepting breadcrumbs of commitment. This time, I'm not waiting for anyone to validate my worth. Yes, I tell James, and I mean it completely. As he slides the ring onto my finger, I catch my reflection in the window. The woman looking back at me is confident, successful, and genuinely happy. She's surrounded by people who respect her accomplishments rather than trying to exploit them. She's nothing like the naive woman who died outside Le Bernardin a year ago. The party continues late into the night, filled with toasts and congratulations and plans for the future. Dr. Chen gives a speech about innovation and persistence. Rebecca talks about the power of authentic storytelling. David raises a glass to justice served and lessons learned. As the celebration winds down, I step out onto the terrace for some air. The city spreads out below me, full of possibilities and promise. This is my world now. Not inherited or borrowed, but built through intelligence, determination, and the hard-won knowledge that the best revenge is a life so successful it makes your enemies irrelevant. My phone buzzes with one final message of the evening from an unknown number. Congratulations on your engagement. You always deserved better. Tess. I look at Sophia's message for a long moment, then type back, I know. Then I block the number and delete the conversation. Some chapters of your life deserve to stay closed. James appears beside me on the terrace, loosening his tie after a long evening of networking and celebration. Any regrets about tonight? He asks. I look at my engagement ring, sparkling in the city lights. Then I look at the man who proposed not because he needed my connections or money, but because he genuinely wants to build a future together. Just one, I tell him. What's that? I wish I could thank the woman I used to be. Her tragedy became my triumph. James wraps his arms around me from behind, and we stand together, looking out over the city that witnessed both my destruction and my rebirth. In the distance, I can see Le Bernardin's lights glowing warmly against the night. Tomorrow, other couples will share anniversary dinners there, making promises they may or may not keep. Some will build lasting partnerships based on mutual respect and genuine love. Others will discover that their relationships were built on deception and exploitation. The difference I've learned isn't in avoiding betrayal, it's in how you respond when betrayal finds you. Some people crumble, some people forgive and repeat the same mistakes. And some people rise from the ashes stronger than ever before, with the wisdom to recognize real love when it finally arrives. As James and I head back inside to our celebration, to our friends and colleagues and the empire we're building together, I smile at the irony of it all. Marcus brought his ex to our anniversary dinner, thinking he was ending our story. Instead, he gave me the perfect beginning to a much better life. And I never looked back.